Hi, Molly.
Hey Ashley, how's it going?
It's good. We are going to chat about some of the 2023, well, WTF. What was this year for us? What did we learn? What did we see? And then kind of what we're thinking for some trends we're thinking for this upcoming year, 2024.
I think we're all ready for 2023 to be over at this point and hopefully hoping for a better 2024.
That's right. So where are you at these days? You recently left Deal.
Yep. So I'm running revenue operations for a company called Sound right now. So working to build out kind of the full RevOps gamut again. It's been fun. This is the fifth company that I've led revenue operations at, and I'd like to tell you it's, all the same. It definitely is not. So it's been a good transition and good journey.
Tell us a little bit about what this year was for you in terms of, we had some things we wanted to kind of to cover. We were riffing before this on, things like AI and do more with less. We'll probably get into that, but just kind of if you had to sum up 2023 in a couple words, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key word that I think about this year was like efficiency, right? I think there was such an emphasis on efficiency, not only, because of like the do more with less. I mean, I think that was a consistent thread, whether it's slimming down, headcount, slimming down budget for tech and tooling, just how do you become more efficient with what you're doing overall so you can ultimately be more effective. I think AI came into that and was, this, not to say silver bullet, because I don't think it's that silver bullet, but I think a lot of companies looked at that as like, that hype around how can I help to augment and build more efficiency as they looked at things like workforce reduction, specifically in sales, and probably more the SDR area, but also just how can I do more with less and become more efficient?
Yeah, I think on the AI front, what's been interesting is thinking about the start of the year to the end of the year. I think we had a lot of, I don't know, a lot of companies that we talked to in maybe January, February, March of this year, definitely more of the early adopters, um, kind of having to sell AI internally, but knowing that this was going to change everything. And you had a lot more, people, maybe objections within the company of like, oh, I don't know about that, security, how is that going to
Yep.
work, OpenAI. And then to think about just, 9, 10 months later, I feel like everyone is embracing the potential for AI to really change the organization. We're not seeing at Momentum the same pushback or the same doubts or fears, I guess, and more like,
Yep.
okay, we're ready to embrace this. Um, does that kind of parallel some of what you saw this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing you touched on is the governance, right? I think the policy around AI, at the Q1, companies weren't thinking about that. And, I think a lot about this in terms of even just like higher education or education in general, right? So, like colleges and students, it's like, they're going to use it and they're going to want to use it and they need to use it and maybe not need to. Like, so you're either going to try to restrict it and have to govern it that way, or you lean into it and make it part of the curriculum. And I think we're seeing businesses start to do the same, where they know that it's going to help improve efficiency, it's going to help drive things forward for the business, but they want to be able to like put the right policy around it from a data security governance perspective. And I think they've started now making more of that switch versus like, hey, we're just going to block it on your servers and you can't figure it out. Well, people will still figure out a way to do it, right? So,
Yep. Yeah, I think one of the exciting things about AI as we go into this next year is I think people are recognizing that if it's part of they're more open to it being part of a workflow. Like I think
mhm.
in sales or, maybe with like GitHub Copilot with for engineering, it's like to have it kind of working alongside the team that's doing the work. We've
Yep.
really kind of had a year now of proving out that you can really see a lot of efficiency gains from this, whether it's, you know, I use it to write a blog post and even if it just gets me started with my ideas, or on the flip side, it gets me, 70% of the work and I'm just editing it. That's a massive gain in my day. And if you take that across every team in the organization, But I think we're seeing that it's not just, it's really got to be part of the day-to-day workflow and kind of the tooling and process that teams are experiencing each day.
Right, absolutely. And that's where it's, I look at it as it's an addition, it's not used to be a subtraction, right? So you're not putting in, and maybe you are, and like if you're doing a great job at this, go you, but like you're not replacing your entire SDR team with AI, right? At some point there's an experience, there's got to be something. So it's more how do you align this next to the team that's ultimately accountable for the experience, for the deliverable, to help prioritize, help, take out some of the steps that maybe are more tedious that can help be augmented and supported, but ultimately, there's still human interaction, making sure you are creating that right experience, you are reviewing things. We've all seen AI go wrong, I think, in different ways. And the classic in my mind is the pictures, right? AI still hasn't figured out fingers. When you get somebody with 7 fingers, like you still need human validation on things.
Absolutely. Another topic we were kind of riffing on the other day was kind of just what we've seen around the consolidation of tooling, the
Mhm.
need for really product stickiness, expanding kind of when the product suite. I'm curious, kind of you as a buyer, you as a kind of keeper of tooling in RevOps, how has this consolidation play changed your thinking around? I mean, I think we're coming off of the 2020, 2021, just like buy, tools, tools, tools. And certainly a momentum we hear a lot of like, yeah, we have so many tools. Now we're like assessing and everyone's trying to consolidate. How did you think about that kind of a deal and in your new role now?
Yeah, I think, we talk about point solutions versus platform solutions a lot, right? So what is very much, that point single problem solution versus something that's more a platform, can support not only multiple multiple problem solution, but also might be more cross-functional as well and support other departments, other teams, where you're getting kind of more bang for your buck. The tricky part of that is, right, generally your point solutions are very, very clear and like this is the problem we solve, where you see the platforms are tending to start to expand, right? They're looking at the product stickiness. How do I get a better footprint? How do I provide more value within the product suite? And some of those, tertiary or secondary feature sets outside of their primary one might not provide as strong of a feature and capability set as something that would be more of that point solution. So there's a lot of really important decision making when you're looking at technology of like, what are you really trying to solve? What are you trying to solve today versus tomorrow? You know, um, Safe harbor statement, right? Is like, and not every tool like that's pitching. We all know how sometimes salespeople work. It doesn't actually do what you need it to do. So spending a lot of time really evaluating the needs. And the other big thing is like understanding like what your budget is, what the ROI is on the tool. I think you and I riffed a little bit about like pricing. I think pricing and how businesses are starting to price is starting to really get a little bit more, I would say, creative than we've seen probably traditionally in the past. I think as we look through, how do you get deeper and stickier and expand? And we're starting to see, net dollar retention, net revenue retention becoming really big indicators, not only on like the VC side of things from an investment, but just general customer success, account management, and retention being such a huge impact, right? And I mean, they teach you this in business school. It's cheaper to retain than it is to acquire, right? Like we've been hearing that for forever, right? But I feel like that's becoming even more and more embraced as we're again trying to do more with less and keep what we have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you hit on the kind of the how that's impacting the kind of customer journey, the customer life cycle. I've heard from a couple teams that the line between pre and post sales is blurring so much that the pre sales team is now the post sales team. It's just one kind of account owner from start
Yeah.
of the deal to renewal retention, maybe paired with a CSM. CS teams now have quota. So there's this big shift, which is exciting. I think it's great because I think if you're focusing on net dollar retention, if you're focusing on retention, then you do put more emphasis on the customer experience from first touch to renewal, and you don't assume that renewals are a given. And I think that that's another 2023 trend. It's like if you, every renewal is a point of, are we still providing value?
Yep.
Does this, nothing is guaranteed. And I think that certainly from a, early stage building a company perspective, I think really it creates a better product in the end, because you're not just thinking about what are these kind of top of the line features that are going to get people in the door and how am I going to like do more outbound and you're
Yep.
actually thinking about how am I going to keep things sticky. And I think that we're probably shifting off of that frenzy of just like grow, 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 grow into creating lasting
And
value as a company.
we're not growth at all cost right now, right? Like, I mean, we're growing at, growing at the lowest possible cost, right? And it's, and to your point, right? You start seeing the shift from like, I would tell you, if I had an account manager reach out to me 30 days before renewal right now, I'd be shocked. Like you're seeing more frequent touch points. You're seeing more of those check-ins. You're seeing more what I'd call like, customer marketing, trying to get feedback throughout that journey, but also targeting based on usage, based on additional feature sets, trying to build that value based on product adoption, product expansion, kind of more of that targeting. And I think that's going to continue to be really important as you go through. It's like how do you actually penetrate your customer base the right way based on your offerings?
Let's shift